Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mock.
And welcome to the half-hour radio program and podcast that broadcasts live every Sunday at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Flame. And obviously, because we said podcast, if you know what that means, you have a podcast app. Look up Community Connections with Children's Services Council, and you can find it there. I bring all this up because today is a special day.
Special day.
Because once a month, because of our wonderful partnership with St. Lucie Public Schools, we come into this very well air-conditioned studio, which I love, particularly in the summer. And this show is broadcast on WLX TV, which is on your major cable providers. So if you're watching us at midnight and you need trouble sleeping, good news for you.
It's fine.
But what I do is when I want to look at all the WLX TV wonderful programming through St. Lucie Public Schools, I go to YouTube, because I have it all organized by program, including our program, and I think it even goes back 9 years.
It goes back a long way, but I'll say too, just as a quick shout out, there are some other great programs that also air on the show. And I know we're good friends with Dr. Donna Mills, but she does some very in-depth interviews with individuals in our community, and the ones that she's had most recently have been really good. Have you watched any of them?
I have. I actually, Donna, Dr. Mills, if you're watching, you can interview us. Interview me. I'm open to that.
They're really good, so I would encourage you to check those out. There are some good shows that also exist. Ours is questionably the most entertaining.
Or the most awkward. Both of those are entertaining. But we at the Children's Services Council, despite Ashley and I recording this show, our team, our board, we work on 5 things in our community, and those 5 things are making programs and resources available for 5 priority areas. Those priority areas are, and say it with me, folks, if you've heard this 1,000 times.
Count them down.
1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby. 2, stopping child abuse before it happens. 3, keeping kids off the streets, including in the summer, because it's that time of year. 4, keeping kids in school. And 5, keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors. And again, by offering programs and resources that last year reached 30,000 children.
That is correct. And that information, we obviously share a lot on this show, on our weekly radio show. But all of that is available on our website at cscslc.org, along with contact information of all of our programs. And we're going to go through in detail some of those things today because, surprise.
Wait, no. If we could just pan to our guest. Oh, wait, we forgot to bring a guest. This is what happens when your guest cancel at the last minute.
There we go.
I did bring the cameras zooming. I did bring my official Children's Services Council hand sanitizer.
We have our wares with us today. But we do, the website is up on the screen for those of you that are watching. And I do want to encourage you to visit our website because we share not only information there about our funded programs, but we talk a lot about the impact that we're having in the community, not just in our annual impact report, which you have brought also as a prop today.
Yes.
But we talk about some of the impact, the successes, if you will, that the programs are having. And there are success stories that are shared on our website about families in our community, about youth in our community. So the website is a really great place to get more information about kind of all of those things, the whole scope of what we do.
I just want to take a moment real here, because we don't have a guest, so we can just, it's our show. We're just going to wing it, if you will. But I want to take, our radio show listeners, I would encourage, and podcast listeners, encourage you to go to WLX TV, because this show would not happen without Craig, who is our producer, cameraman, does everything, and he just very, very smoothly just panned to all of our wares. But a big shout out to Craig, who's always helped us year after year after year.
He probably gives us more help than we deserve.
Help and keep us in line and boundaries and no, you can't do this. Yes, I need your info.
All of those things.
So, do you want to role play? Like, do you want me to pretend like I'm you and you be the guest? That would be kind of fun.
Sure.
Right, so we did bring some props. You already said it. Again, you go to our website. We'll also mention the Book of Face and or Facebook or Meta, because I'm that cool. I know what it's going to. But look up Children's Services Council St. Lucie County on Facebook, also Instagram and Twitter. And not particularly the Facebook, because I think that's what most people use. Quite frankly, most people my age use, right? But it's a good, because not only do we share about the programs and, as you mentioned, the success stories, but a lot of events that we're involved in.
Which right now,
like, I'm surprised we're here, because there's an event we probably have to go to, or we're supposed to be at right now.
That's true, actually. No, it is, you joke all the time. I used to say this phrase on the radio show that, like, there's nothing to do here, because that's what we would hear.
She did the voice. She did the voice.
That's what we would hear in the community. But true. You and I were at events this weekend. Somebody else from our team was at a different event. Like
Yes.
there are so many things going on, and there are actually some really cool things going on in our community. One of the events that you and I got to attend this past weekend was the launch party, the design reveal for the new rebuilding of the JC Park, which I spent years going to when I was little, because we used to take our boat there. There was a boat ramp at JC, but there's still a boat ramp there. But the Kiwanis, the Fort Pierce Sunrise Kiwanis is working with the city of Fort Pierce to rebuild that park, that playground, not just to make it new and exciting, but to make it accessible to everyone. It's going to be the first of its kind.
All inclusive.
All inclusive. They surveyed kids and families in the community to find out what they wanted, which I thought was so interesting. I actually got to attend one of the design days.
Because we, the Children's Services Council, sponsored the design days.
We sponsored the design day piece, but in one of we were with, I think, a kindergarten classroom, and the kids were like, I want a pirate ship, and I want a spinny slide, and I want a fast slide. And all of those things got incorporated into the design. So it's very cool.
We would encourage you to look up the Fort Pierce Sunrise Kiwanis, because they are looking for volunteers and monetary donations to build this park. But Ashley said, how cool is it? They designed it all inclusive, so children of all abilities will be able to participate, including adults. But it's a pirate ship, and it's close to the water. So how cool is that going to be?
It's very cool.
And they're going to have zip lines.
There's so many interesting things. We actually posted a picture of the design plan on our Facebook page, so you can go check it out there. But it's just really exciting. It's one of the, a cool thing that we interviewed some of the Kiwanis board members on the radio show a couple of weeks ago. They have a mission to invest in children, which we can obviously get behind. But it's a really cool project. And as Sean mentioned, they're going to be looking for help building the playground later this year. But you can also purchase pieces of it to sponsor for your family. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's a really cool opportunity.
Again, look up Fort Pierce Sunrise Kiwanis, and I know that the build starts in October. So they're looking for volunteers to not literally build, but also clean and stuff. So again, of all abilities, but a great way to volunteer and give back to the community.
Yes.
This particular show, we're going to bounce around a lot. Just warning you right now. The caffeine and the ADHD are at a high level this morning. So you mentioned right from the jump about the success stories, and I'm going to reverse the script, if you will. The success stories tell stories about the lives of families and children that we've impacted from our personal, this is Johnny, this was his story. Conversely, multiple times a year, but particularly at the end of the year, we do our community impact report. It's kind of like our annual report. Shockingly, it's available on our website. Just look up cscslc.org, or if you want a paper copy, you're more than welcome. Just give us a shout out and we'll bring some copies to you. But what's great about it, and Ashley designs it, it reflects not just the efforts of the Children's Services Council, but the efforts of all of our partners. Because quite honestly, we don't do anything without our partners, right? But it shows the impact that us collectively together, the Children's Services Council and our program partners, had on the population that we served. And I will say over 30,000 children served last year, which, quite frankly, was a little bit down for us. But again, COVID.
COVID life.
So COVID life. But again, it's purposely designed. This is, the one thing that I say when we design the annual report, got to be able to be read in 5 minutes or less. I always say the comic book version. But if you want to see what your Children's Services Council is doing and all the efforts, and of course we promote this radio show, we're not fools. Of course we promote the show as well. But if you're interested, go to our website, download it. You also have a cool thing called FlipStack where they can flip through it online. It's kind of interactive. But again, if you're like me, you're old school, and you're like, I can read it online, but I want to be able to touch it, feel it, smell it, we can make sure you get a report delivered to you.
Yeah, and it really is, we talk about the individual impact, like you said, the success stories, but the impact on the community, I think, sometimes gets missed in that, right? So there's information in there about how the percentage of our after-school programs that actually impacted a child's academic performance, like that.
Disciplinary referrals, school attendance.
That's the kind of stuff that you can really see the impact that's being made in the programs, and I think sometimes in conversation that doesn't get translated well. So in this piece, it does.
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people think, oh, the Children's Services Council, they're the ones that give money. Of course, we give money to support these programs, but there's an accountability piece.
Right.
And so we spend a lot of time, and this is good time because it's ways to improve the programs, hence improving the impact they can have on kids, is they all have outcomes they have to achieve. And we work with them, we track it and be like, okay, we noticed this, what can we do to help? Have we tried this, strategize this, talk to this partner? So, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are the money people that give money to programs. Yes, we do
Sure.
that, but there's a lot that we do behind the scenes, and this is a little bit of the highlights of behind the scenes.
Right.
All right, you know, when I always say when we get into the weeds, this is,
That's it.
you know,
That's
bring
the
your weed whacker, there's a little bit of weeds in here.
That's the weeds.
I also want to mention, I'm looking at our list here. We have a list of what we're going to talk about.
It's not gonna
When our guests canceled, we're like, let's make a list. So I also want to mention, we do this TV show, and it's fantastic. And again, great partnership with St. Lucie Public Schools and Craig and WLX TV and all the work that they do and all the diverse programming that they do. But we also have a Facebook show. Yeah, I'm glad you laughed because that's about how serious we take it. It's a Facebook show we do in partnership with the St. Lucie Chamber of Commerce, and it broadcasts live on their page, and we share it. It's called the All In Show because we want, yeah, we ring a bell every time we say the word all in. We call it All In because what we do is we highlight a nonprofit and we highlight somebody that goes above and beyond, and we ask that guest, how can the community be all in with that organization? Because it doesn't just take money, it takes awareness, it takes volunteerism. So we have them articulate to the audience, to the business community, they could do to be all in. And I give you credit because you came up with that title.
I did.
You did. I remember because we were like,
What are we gonna?
We had something way longer, and you're like, what if we just call it All In? Ding, 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 we ring the bell. But I say all that because when we share the success stories of the individual families being served, when we talk about the highlights, the impact these programs have had, it boils down to, obviously we provide the resources and the programs, but it boils down to their dedicated teams that are interacting one-on-one with those children and those families, building those relationships, lifting those children up, having a big impact. So in the All In show, which we encourage you to watch, which is on the second Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Okay. So far, so good. Second Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Facebook, on our page and the Chamber of Commerce page, we give out the Community Impact Award winner. And it's that person in one of our programs. Now keep in mind, our programs, through our funding, it's over 550 people employed in our programs because of our funding. We find one, we search through and we debate and come up with somebody to give it to. So once a month, we honor somebody that goes above and beyond, and we let them tell their story about what they do. And I'm glad that we do that because, at the Children's Services Council, again, big picture, we can get lost in the data, we can get lost in the funds, but it really boils down to one-on-one relationships with children, and we get to highlight those people that do an awesome job at it.
It's a really good reminder, I think, for us too, that is the work that's being done. Our winner from this past month is kind of not a traditional I guess, winner. But I would encourage you to go back and look at the page. It's Jabari Williams. He runs Treasure Coast Elite, which is a really cool 7-on-7 football program. But he took 32 youth?
I believe so, yeah.
32 high school youth on a college tour. Athletes on a college tour all through the Southeast. And they went to, I want to say 6 or 7 colleges. Of the boys that he took with them, I think a handful of them are juniors and seniors. He got 15 to 20 scholarship offers.
And they still may get more.
Across those boys. It was just an unbelievable conversation to have with him. He's been doing it. We've been working with him for the last 3 or 4 years to do it. But what an opportunity for those boys. And he even said some of them have never traveled outside of Fort Pierce.
Well, we talk a lot, and particularly when you're an athlete, you're like, you can get a scholarship and go on to college, and that's a great dream. But what a better way to look to achieve that dream if you've actually, because to your point, a lot of them have never stepped foot on a college. So now you show them what it's like, and now that dream becomes even more attainable.
They met the coaches, they met the training staff. It was just a really cool opportunity, and Jabari worked really hard to make sure that goes off. He was exhausted.
I know. I was just thinking, I feel bad because we interviewed him the day before he got back. He looked tired.
Yeah, but it's a really cool thing. I would encourage you to learn more about it, especially if you have a young athlete in your home. He's really doing some amazing things to work with them.
So it is summer out. How do I know that? Because I sweat a ton before walking into this nicely air-conditioned studio.
From the parking lot to the building.
If you're not aware of that, that's why your child's home during the day. I say all that to say that, and we've mentioned this on previous shows, But we at the Children's Services Council, every single year, all of our programs that are in Keeping Kids Off the Streets category, they're annual programs. So they turn into summer learning activity programs, and then we put more resources to expand that. So this year, I believe we have 30 locations, which is a lot.
It's a lot.
North, east, south, west,
Kind of
all
all
throughout the
over.
community. And so if your child, I say all that to say, you may be thinking, well, Sean, summer's already started. It's too late to get my child enrolled. It's not too late. First of all, the summer still has quite a few weeks left, at least six, I think. 6 weeks left. Even if you call and your first preference, there's a waiting list. Put your child on the waiting list because, families drop out all the time. But please take advantage of this. This is available on our website. We have multiple locations. We have Indian River State College that's working with older kids on lasers, and they're going to
Really cool.
fly drones and all that kind of cool stuff.
It's really cool.
We have the Boys and Girls Club that are doing some workforce readiness stuff. We have End It that's producing a high school musical, or the high school musical.
So many different options, especially, all those things that you mentioned. If there's something specific that your child is interested in, I'm certain that you can find a fit in one of these programs. And if you have questions about maybe what would be the right place, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can send us a Facebook message, call the office, any of those things. But it's not too late to get involved. Some of them are full. I'll just admit that up front. Some of them are full, but a lot of them still have flexibility and would be happy to take your kid.
And the reason why we promote our camps, because there's a lot of camps out there, obviously. One, when they work with us, we do work with them to make sure that it's affordable, right? Because we recognize, particularly this time, it cost me $12 just to get to the studio here on gas. I'm joking, but we recognize that, for families, particularly if you have, let's say you have 2, 3, 4 children, 3 children that you have to pay camp for, just do the quick math at $100 a week, $300 a week, that's $2,400 that you may or may not have the funds for or may not have budgeted for. And so we realize that financial impact. So we ask our programs to work with families to make sure, particularly because I rarely get a call from the parent with 1 or 2 children, but I have gotten calls. Every summer I get calls. I have 3 or 4 children. I can afford to send 2.
Yeah.
Where do I go? All of our programs work with families. Some of them are at low cost, no cost, or again, they work with families, provide scholarships. But that's not the point I wanted to make, which seems weird because I made a big point about it. But the point I want to make is if you partner with the Children's Services Council, if you are funded by the Children's Services Council to do a summer camp, if you are working with middle school or less, we're going to measure your academic impact that you're having with the kids. That doesn't mean it's going to be like they're going into Sunday school, to summer school. It's not. They embed fun, but they have fun, but they embed learning components into it. Because we know the research shows that in the summer, for some kids, particularly in low-income neighborhoods, they slide back in the summer, and then they go back to school, and they're already behind their peers. So we want to mitigate some of that. So that's why we ask all of our programs. That's why you always hear us refer to them as summer learning programs. And then if they're serving teenagers, we ask that there be some type of vocational exploration. I say all that to say that these camps aren't just, go out and play basketball and go sweat and be exhausted. It's more than that.
That's included.
That's included.
There's some of
We want
that.
the kids to come back.
Yeah, and we want to send them home tired too.
Exactly, yeah.
They have to have fun. But there is this flyer that Sean showed, we do have some of those still available, but the website information is probably the most up to date. I've been trying to keep track on there of who's full and who still has openings. So if you have questions, the website is a great place to start.
So I'm also going to mention, because this morning I had to fill in for Teresa, the CEO of the chamber, which are some big shoes to fill in. And I think I stumbled through it okay. But I was able to address the crowd, and I told them about the partnership that we have with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So every year, up until a few years ago, every year when we put out the application for summer programs, we would get their applications, and there would always there's a field trip line item. And every summer program was asking for anywhere from $3 to $10 grand on taking kids on field trips. And that's important in a summer camp, right? You can't have them in the same room 5 days a week for 8 days a week. They go stir crazy. So you got to build in trips, right? That's typically a typical thing for summer camp. But a lot of those trips that they were wanting to go were to Disney in Orlando, or Busch Gardens, which is in Tampa, or somewhere outside of St. Lucie County. And we're looking at it, we're like, why would we give them money, St. Lucie County money, to go spend in Orlando or Tampa or wherever? So we partner with, and this was a great idea of Tanya from our office, to create something. We partner with the St. Lucie Chamber to call something called Summer Passports. So in St. Lucie County, there are very cool things to do.
Very cool thing.
Sail a key.
Very cool.
Lisa's kayaks. The Cupcake Lady. I know that sounds weird, but the Cupcake Lady, the Botanical Gardens, the Navy SEAL Museum. There are tons of things to do that, quite frankly, a lot of our kids don't even know about. Some of our kids haven't even been to the beach.
Right.
So what we did was we take a pot of money and we went to the chamber, and the chamber, if you don't know, books a lot of the excursions out of the Seven Gables House in Fort Pierce. And this is a time when usually they're kind of slow. So we're able to boost their business by investing money, and what they do is all the summer camps go to these local excursions. So that's their field trips for the year. And so what happens is they'll go to Lisa Kayaks, they'll go to Sail a Key. We'll get the phone call. Kids who've never been to the beach, much less on the water, we got a call the first year saying this is life-changing for our kids.
Yep. There's been, I don't know if you've seen them, but there's been some really good videos. I think our businesses are starting to get better about tracking and promoting what's happening, but there's been really cool videos this week. Lisa's Kayaks had the youth from Ignite out.
I saw that.
And the boys were like, I think they were a little bit scared about being on the water, but a lot of what she asked them, like, what was your favorite part about today? And one of them was like, I overcame my fear. Like, I got out there and I did it. There's one of the stops is Momentum Academy, which teaches the circ acts, if you will. So they do flying trapeze and all that stuff. And there were some videos of youth there last week that I could not believe those little kids were getting up on that thing. But it's really cool opportunities like that. Another one that I just wanted to mention that I thought was so interesting was you talk about the botanical gardens and you're like, okay, like what am I going to do? Walk through the botanical gardens? But Heathcote has done some incredible educational programming, and the youth who were able to visit there last week went through like an entire historical lesson about primitive days in Fort Pierce and what they looked like, and they were able to churn butter. Like that's an experience that's not, you know, they wouldn't typically get to have that anywhere, and what a cool way to learn about the history of our community.
And we've actually, with some of our summer camps, we're trying to develop days where they all come together. So on June 29th, our listening audience and viewers, if you're not doing anything on June 29th during the day, come to the Mets game. We're going to have a lot of our summer camp kids there. It's a day baseball game. That's pretty cool.
It's really fun. And again, something that a lot of them have never been able to experience, even though it's right here in our backyard.
So another thing, we've got a few minutes left. So again, that's what we're doing with the summer. Again, if you want to learn more information, again, our website, Facebook page, cscslc.org. If you're wondering what those letters are and why they run together that way, it just happens to be the acronym of Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County, because you know in the nonprofit world we love our acronyms. All right, so the other thing that we do a lot in the summer that we need to showcase is reading, books, and books.
Yeah, that's a really good way to explain it. So two things that I want to mention. One is something that we've talked about before. We have a great partnership with the St. Lucie County Library System. They do a huge reading initiative all summer long. They've actually implemented some really cool technology in the last couple of years, so you can actually track your reading on an app called Beanstack. Once you have completed your independent reading, you take a form or you check back in at the library, and your student is eligible to earn free books, free Mets tickets. There's also prizes that they'll be entered in to win. Can you see this? This flyer is small.
You got me intrigued.
There's
a telescope?
Legos, art supplies, a 3D pen, a 3D writing pen, a $100 Amazon gift card, a telescope. So write that down.
I want to know what a 3D writing pen is. I'm all over that.
It builds stuff with a little, I'll show you, it's cool. But check out the St. Lucie County Library. They have a ton of information on their website. We have it linked onto our website, but there are different suggested reading times per day depending on the age of the child, so everyone can participate. So no exclusions. It ends August 6th, right before the kids go back to school, but they can earn their prizes as soon as their reading minutes have been completed.
And before we jump to the other thing, let me give a quick shout out, thanks, and a PSA about our St. Lucie library system.
You love the library.
If you're like, oh, the library system, who goes to libraries? You know,
Shonda.
If you have this old version of it, Let me tell you what the library does right now. And maybe I'm slow to the party. That wouldn't be the first or the last time. But if you have a library card, and if you don't, go to any library. It takes all of 5 minutes. They'll give you a library card. They have a digital reading, audiobooks, and digital online books. You download an app called Cloud Library. You identify that you live in the United States. You identify Florida, St. Lucie County. You put in your library card number, and you have access to all their digital books, both to read on your tablet or computer
audio.
or phone, and audiobooks.
That's very
And it's
cool.
amazing.
That's
It's
very
amazing.
cool.
I've read since I discovered that, and you know me, I like to read, but I'm like the world's slowest reader. I've read I think 5 books in the last couple of months because of that.
That's
How great is it?
impressive.
Instead of going, no offense, Amazon, instead of going on Amazon I'm just gonna stress shop, right? I just go on to there and
And you
save
find
all
a
the cool
book.
books and save them and then go back and read them later.
That's very cool. So if you don't have that access and you need free books, I got you.
Segue,
I got you
segue.
covered here too. We are, for probably the 3rd or 4th summer in a row, partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters, Help Me Grow Florida, and the Sunshine Laundry Centers. A huge shout out to Tom, their owner. He's amazing every year. But there's 2 dates, one in June, one in July, where we will be there along with Big Brothers Big Sisters and Help Me Grow. Help Me Grow will be doing their Ages and Stages questionnaire, their monitoring updates. Big Brothers Big Sisters will have reading mentors. They're actually there every Saturday for the whole summer, but on this particular Saturday, we're going to have a lot more for the kids to do, and they'll be able to select some free books. So mark down Saturday, June 25th and Saturday, July 23rd. We will be out at Sunshine Laundry on South US 1.
I knew about the dates that we're helping partner with, but they're every Saturday?
The mentors are there every Saturday.
Wow. What time do they get there?
10 a.m.
We should bring them donuts and coffee sometime. Let's see when I do that.
You should do that.
That would be fun. All right. You have one more announcement?
I have one more, real quick. We have
Yes.
a minute left. This is also a really cool thing in partnership with Cleveland Clinic and CareBag, an organization that we work closely with, along with a couple of others. A free community health fair. They are going to be doing health screenings for students and adults and sports physicals for free. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you have a student who wants to play sports in the coming school year, be there on Sunday, July 31st. They will get a free sports physical that they can then take to school to use to play sports. So it's at the Treasure Coast Church of God on Savona Boulevard. But again, we'll share more information about this as
And
well.
we will have the sponsors of this event on our radio program
Yes.
in the upcoming weeks.
They are coming in a couple of weeks.
So
to
we've
talk
got
about it.
less than a minute left. I just want to remind everybody before we head off, one, we're grateful for every watch and listen, and we're proud to be your Children's Services Council. I'm just going to get serious here for a minute. If you know anybody that's struggling with their mental health, and let's remove the stigma of mental health, but if you know somebody that's maybe struggling, or you yourself need somebody to talk to, I'm going to remind you of 2 numbers. One simple number is trying to do the hand
Three
thing.
numbers.
211. Yeah, 3 simple numbers. 211, 24-hour line for not only information and referral, a ton of other stuff, but they also have crisis counselors on there if you need somebody to talk to. And if you and your family are experiencing any type of crisis, whether it be housing, food, shelter, behavior, whatever it may be, remind you that we partner with a wonderful program called Supporting Families in Crisis, and you can call them at 772-340-5044. We ask that you share these numbers because we know that times can be tough at times, particularly in the summer, and just a reminder that there's help out there. All right, we have come to the end. We want to thank our guests
Just kidding.
for coming. Thank you, Ashley. A reminder that it's a weekly radio program every Sunday on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. Also a podcast. Just look up Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. And thank you to WLX TV for welcoming us into their studio once a month so that we can spread our message far and wide. And remember, folks, that it's our children, our community, our future. Now more than ever, we're all in this together. We'll see you next time.